right, can everyone hear me? Let's see. Never done a live stream before. All right, try and make this so you can actually see a little pup over here. Guess we'll sit on the floor together. She's chewing on a little trachea. Yeah, super. Oh, look at people can talk. Okay, this is so cool. Thank you guys for being here. Yeah, I've never done this before, but I thought it would be kind of a fun way to introduce you to the little pup, especially after everyone helped me so much with picking out a name for her, because I was pretty set on a couple different names, including Octane, and I really wanted to name her Omelet, but not a lot of people liked the omelet idea. So we ended up deciding, well, I decided on the name after I started picking her up at 5.5 weeks. And every time I picked her up, she would do a bit of a scream. So her brother is pretty chill kind of guy. Actually, let me do it like this. And she is whatever the opposite of chill is. So after learning about her a little more, and she's just such a cool little dog, I decided to name her Osa. So thank you to all of you who put in your recommendations. Osa means she bear, which fits her very well. So her name is going to be Osa Bear. And I like that there's also a bear emoji, so that works out pretty nicely. Let's see if we can get her in the picture. I gave her the trachea so that she'll stop screaming, because she is a little bit of a screamer right now. But it's been a really cool 24 hours, which is how long, a little more than 24 hours that I've had her. She slept through the night last night, which was quite the blessing. So I slept here on the couch with her. This is her little this is her little condo while she gets introduced to my dogs, because I have very dog selective dogs, so we have to do a really slow introduction. So she has her space here. So I slept out on the couch with her to make sure that I could hear her if she needed to go to the bathroom. I took her out for the last time at about 10:15 or so. And then after that, I woke up myself every hour because I was worried she was gonna have an accident, but she didn't. And at 5, I brought her back out. And because I'm the kind of person that wants to sleep train for the dog to be able to sleep until at least 6:30 is when I'd like to get up. So what I did is I took her out, I did a little bit with her, and then I gave her something to chew on and put her back in her kennel, and she slept until 6:30, at which point we all got up and went back out to go to the bathroom. So that worked out pretty nicely. I'm pretty pleased with that. We'll see how tonight goes. Usually the first night can be the worst night, especially since she's been with her sibling for so long. But yeah, so she's doing really well. She's super smart. And what I love about her is she's very food motivated. So I'm one of those people that never feeds from a bowl. So I think building food drive is really important in a dog. And it's especially important in guide dogs because we can't use balls and things that are going to and tugging and all of that to get the work done, the training done that we need done. We really need the dogs to have some sort of food drive. So what I'm doing with her is each one of her meals are a training session, which she's really loving. And I'm going to post some of that probably next week of even just what the first training sessions look like. This is kind of a bonus time for me with her because she is only 7 weeks and a day. She came out of the pup house a little bit early. So I kind of have these bonus days with her. I'm actually going away this weekend for a little short trip. So I was supposed to get her after. But so I'm using this time to bond with her and help her learn about my household, as well as just start some really basic position training. So for instance, today at lunch, we practiced sit, down, stand, and then also being in between my legs and kind of what we will eventually do a down and under type of thing. So those are some of the things I'm starting to just position train with the food. Also getting her up on the climb. And to those of you who have not gone on Instagram yet and entered to win a climb, make sure you do that because it closes tonight at 9. I wanted to give away a climb because I've been so happy to have everyone's support on this channel and all of my subscribers and people who have commented, and it's just been really fun running this channel for the last 3 years. So I wanted to do a little giveaway. So if you haven't entered, go over on Instagram. My Instagram is at dogggy.u. So it's not doggy.u, it's dogggy.u. That's where you'll find us over there, and that's where you can finish up the entry. You just need to tag 2 friends and like the post, and then make sure you're subscribed over here, which you guys probably are if you're here live hanging out with me. Yeah, huh, girlfriend? Yeah, she's super into this trachea, which I'm glad I found because my husband works from home just like most people right now. So screaming puppy is not his favorite thing in the entire world. So this is really helpful. I also have her dinner. Where did I put that? Oh, it's up on top of her crate. So just started mixing. So you know that I feed a lot of raw, but for these guide dogs, we don't feed raw. So what I did is I mixed just some of her regular kibble in with some Honest Kitchen, which is a dehydrated food that is the same. I did the chicken one because that's what she's on right now. Do you think she likes it, guys? So I love these little topples for puppies because they have easy access to them. A lot of times if you use Kongs when they're this young, they'll give up on the Kongs. So with the topple, it's really easy for them to get at it, which works out well to teach them how to use puzzle toys for their food. So the 3 ways that I feed food with puppies is I am either training with it, so I'm taking their kibble and I'm doing a training session with it, or it's coming out of like one of these stagnant puzzle toys like this, where they're just gonna sit and lick on it, and that's something that I love to do for crate training, which is great. And then I'll also use puzzle toys like the IQ ball, where I can throw the kibble in there to give them something to do to bat around her little pen area. All of those things are using my dog's brain, making them tired, and then when my puppy is tired, she goes to sleep, and when she's sleeping, she's not screaming. No, I'm sure in a couple days she'll be over that kind of phase, especially with the help of some of these little aids that I use to help keep my household nice and calm. Night Cactus, so many tail wags. Twisty, she's super cute. Yeah, she is really cute. She's really bright, and she's a really fun little dog to have. So she was at work with me all day today, and she didn't meet anyone she didn't love. So that's really nice. She's got little talons right now. I don't know if you can see those. So the next project we're going to be doing is practicing some body handling. She's a little bit more resistant to body handling than typical because she did have some health stuff where she had to have extra shots or something like that when she was little. So we're going to be working on doing lots of body handling, getting these nails trimmed so that they're not daggers. And then we're also going to be working on, being able to be picked up nicely, being able to practice some cooperative care with shots and that kind of thing. She does have her puppy shots coming up, so we'll be making sure there's lots of positive reinforcement for those situations for her. But she's a nice little dog, medium energy, I would say, so far. But we'll see how she turns out. She's definitely a little smarty. She's already able to do her little sits and downs, stand, and then going up on the climb and putting her front 2 feet on a little target. So I'm just position training. Oh, someone missed the name announcement. Richard, her name is going to be Osa, O-S-A, means she bear for her little talkativeness for right now, but also because she's a little force, and it's going to be really cool to see her grow up, hopefully into a guide. But not all dogs make it as guide dogs. Some of them get career change to other careers. So we, if they don't fit as a guide, because we are talking about, the astronauts of the dog world here, to be able to be a guide dog. So Wolfpack, yes, Osa is her name. Yep. And so I wanted to talk a little bit about what I'm thinking about with her versus when I'm doing like a sport dog, like when I was raising Cool Whip, my Australian Coolie. Is with her, I wanted her jumping all over me. I wanted her to be comfortable jumping off my body, to be able to play disc. I wanted her tug, 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 to be able to reward her in with play and toys. I wanted her retrieving to me. And some of those things are the same. Like I do want her to be able to retrieve to hand, because that is very, very useful if you are someone who is blind or visually impaired, to have the dog bring the toy all the way back to your hand so you're not searching for it. But what I don't want is I don't want her jumping all over my body or anybody else's. She has this job that she's going to be doing, which is kind of a hurry up and wait kind of job. So, a lot of clients who use these dogs are going to be, using their dog to get to work. They're going to walk whatever it is, 1 mile to 3 miles or more to get to work. And then the dog's going to sit all day, just like a lot of other people who their job is to sit in an office. The dog needs to be able to lay there the entire time and be quiet and still. I don't know if you can still see her, but she's down with her little, she's back down with her little trachea. That's definitely a hit for her. So the dogs need to be able to really relax and chill out. So one of the things that we really have to train with these puppies is the ability to relax. So we'll spend time on a tether. A tether is basically a leash. I don't have one right with me right now, but it's basically a leash made out of metal wrapped in plastic. So it allows the dog to be tied to something without chewing through it, especially during puppyhood. And I love tether training. I used to do it even with pet dogs when I was training pet dogs too, because it teaches the dog to just chill out. If I'm tethered, nothing's going to happen. I'm just going to relax here. And we teach that by giving them things like the trachea or like our topple to chew on. I'll maybe put it so that you can see her because she's way cuter than I am. So I'll use that tether. Oh my goodness. I think she's going to go into the camera. All right, let's not get my Mac completely covered in dog drool. Teaching her to relax is going to be a big deal. Teaching her about things that are overhead is also important. So I want her to be able to notice things overhead, because she is going to have to do that in her job. I want her to be able to notice things under her feet and also not have any aversion to things under her feet. One of the things that can make it so a guide dog doesn't work out in that career is if they're sensitive to underfootings. So if they're avoidant of underfootings is one of the things that we want to make sure that she's not. I don't think I'm going to have a problem with her. She loves to climb all over everything, so that might not be an issue. Let's see, a question. How big are both the parents, by the way, if it's okay to ask? So that's a really interesting one. I don't know exactly. I'm not familiar with the parents on her, as in I don't know them personally, so I don't know the answer to that one. All of our dogs tend to be somewhere, the females tend to be between 60 and 70 pounds. That's typical, and the males are somewhere usually between 70 and 85 or so pounds in general. We want them to be able to fit under plane seats easily. Let's see, what else are their questions? I'm always torn between letting a puppy jump on me or not because of certain tasks that require alerting or DPT. So that's a really good point. So this puppy is specifically for guide work. Jumping is never going to be something that's in her repertoire of things that she needs. I tend to, when I'm teaching an alert, so the behavior that I tend to use is a nose boop for that, but that doesn't necessarily mean that's the only thing I'll use. And also for DPT, right, I do want the dog. So for those that don't know what DPT is, deep pressure therapy. So that means I'm either going to teach them, she's rolling over, it's adorable. I'm either going to teach her to, sorry guys, this is my first time. Maybe I'll use my phone next time. But I'm either going to teach the dog to come over my lap when I'm sitting, or I'll use a DPT where I'm laying down and the dog is sternal to me. So that's another way. So for certain types of service dogs, that may be something that you want to consider. However, either way, I don't necessarily want them jumping at me. I kind of want to teach that in a little bit of a more controlled fashion. Let's see. If you live where it gets wet and muddy, teach a nose nudge. Yes. Yes. Nice. Yes, that is so true. Yeah, I prefer a nose nudge. Some dogs do have an aversion to it, so you can also just teach a position, or you can teach like a spin or something as the alert, depending on what it is. How many hours would she be able to work per time or day when fully trained? So the German Shepherd dogs tend to be high-end working as far as, there's lots of breeds that become guide dogs, but generally we're talking labs, golden lab crosses, and German Shepherds are our main ones. There are poodles and other crosses, but we have people that'll work their dogs up to 10 miles a day that'll go running with their dogs. And then we also have, I can't even handle her right now. We also have dogs. I'm just got to figure this part out. We also have dogs that would prefer to work only a couple of miles a day, and they're totally fine with that situation as well. So it depends on the dog, just like everything else. It's all an individual thing. But, we have a spectrum of working dogs when we're talking about German Shepherds. Let's see. How young should you start desensitizing the puppy to certain things? I have a farm and I want to make sure my future SDIT is, for those of you who don't know, that's service dog in training, is comfortable with all the animals. Now, so, I want to be careful of fear periods, but also anything that she's going to see, I'm going to basically start introducing her from afar. So for instance, even today I had her watching traffic, but it wasn't very close up. I knew that it was below threshold for her. She's just watching it. I'm giving her treats for it, letting her know that traffic is a good thing. So introducing her to animals at this age, I think is fine. You have to be careful because of shots and all of that, but in a low key way, like, look, there's a horse across the field. Let's check it out from over here, I think is a good thing. How long did it take for her to get comfortable with you and the new environment? Well, it's been 24 hours. Let me know if you think she looks comfortable or not. No, I mean, she's still doing a little bit, like she was just, taken away from the sibling, though they do get to play with each other during the day. So she is just getting used to this. She does get a little bit fussy when I leave, but she was able to sleep through the night easily. So I think she's settling in pretty well. And she rode around in the crate in the car with all the other dogs today really well as well. Let's see. Are German Shepherds still commonly used for service work? I don't see them used as much. Yeah, so that's a really good question. The answer is not as much as labs because just generally it's harder to breed a German Shepherd to do this kind of work well. Although they were the original guide dogs, people tend to use labs because they do have a pretty high success rate. German Shepherds are we say they're kind of like the Lamborghini of the guide dog world, because they do require a pretty specific handler and usually, but not always, someone who's going to really work their dog to keep them happy. But yeah, they're not as typical, just because labs have a very high success rate. They have, German Shepherds are herding dogs. Herding dogs come with all of those herdy things like sensitivities. German Shepherds can be reactive, if it's, not suitable for the work. So we're actually, Fidelco is the company that I work for during the day, is the only guide dog school that uses only German Shepherds. And there's about 13 across the US, mostly using labs. Yes, I personally play farm sounds on YouTube for my puppies to start. Yes, so when I first, I'll be doing sound desensitization. I'll probably do a video on that with her, but I'm, starting to play thunderstorms, starting to play fireworks, starting to play appliance noises while they're doing something fun. So the important part there is that, you over it? The important part there is that we're making the experience positive and not neutral. So that means that I want to make sure that she's having a good time while she's hearing those firework sounds, not just passively hearing them. And I'll start them really low. I don't want her to notice them, and I'll slowly increase those sounds. But yeah, I'll just YouTube them and play them while we're having a little play session or a training session. All right, let's see. First ever guide dog was in fact a shepherd, if I remember correctly. Yep, that is correct. Buddy the shepherd was the first guide dog, and that was quite a few years ago. Yeah, and again, I'm raising this puppy for Fidelco Guide Dog Foundation, but I've also worked with lots of other types of service dogs. Let's see. Are veterinary visits the same for guide dogs? Tell me more about that question, Night Cactus. So she will have the same general shot that every other dog will. The company I work for, Fidelco, actually has a vet on staff. So they go there, and then once they go out to the client, they're responsible for their general care. When and how in the training would you start to know if she would be a success? That's such a good question. So like all things, we don't, we could know really early on that maybe it's not the right job for the dog. So things like high reactivity, high distraction level. So maybe like super sniffy, can't come off a scent, then maybe that dog is a better choice for, a bomb dog or something like that. But sometimes we don't know until further into training. The way that puppy raising works is this is a little bit of an interesting scenario because I have one dog that's a little finicky with other dogs. So I'm going to do a partial raise with her. But generally, a puppy raiser is going to have that puppy from 8 weeks until 14 to 16 months. Then they come in for formal training, and that's 6 to 9 months or so. So they have 3 different blindfolds, and they're going to determine on each level of those blindfolds whether or not they should continue with the program. So the person asking OSA or URSA, it's OSA, OSA, OSA bear. Okay, let's see. I'm just reading these. I was watching one of your older videos on a sit and stay, and you put the treat on the ground in between their paws. Doesn't that increase the chance of dogs eating off the floor? That's a really good question. So German Shepherds don't tend to be scavengers. So you have to weigh the pros and cons of those things. Also, dogs tend to understand context. So when they're in their little working uniform, they tend to behave better, work hard, play hard kind of situation. So could it potentially, but one of the things that German Shepherds aren't too terrible with is scavenging, whereas Labs, you might have to worry a little bit more about that. I do have a cue that means that they can have the thing off of the floor. So just like you have a cue that means I'm going to feed from my hand, I can have a cue that I'm tossing something and telling them that they can pick it up off the floor. And then I also teach a leave it, obviously, for that. And then if I need to, in the correct context, I'll use a bowl to put the treat in if I'm going to put the treat on the floor. Let's see. Does Fidelco have a certain food that if you feed it? Yeah. Yes, they do. I'm not going to talk too much about that. That's a Fidelco thing. But yes, they do have a specific food that they feed. Though clients can, oh my God, it's hanging off of her mouth. Though clients can choose to switch the food to an approved type of food. Let's see. When do the Volt-Heart test? We don't do a Volt-Heart test, actually. We use a guide dog specific test for puppy testing called the GD BART test. But they're all kind of similar. And we're just trying to look at, data to see if we can better predict who's going to be a guide dog. For Lab, read walking stomach. That's very funny. All right. Regarding the way to ask it, if a service dog is a puppy, shows a physical development concern or problem, will that automatically just... Yeah, so dogs that aren't sound aren't going to be guide dogs. So for instance, if their hip x-rays come back poor, they're not going to be guide dogs. So yes, there are definitely disqualifying things for guide dogs, just like there should be for all service dogs. We don't want dogs that are, have any challenges, whether that be like a physical problem or a temperamental problem, being service dogs across the board. Can we see in her pen, and what's her name? Yes. Let me show you that. And then I think we're going to wrap it up because I do want to take her out to go to the bathroom because we have had 0 accidents in the house and I'd like to keep that streak running if at all possible. So let me just show you her little pen. Sweet. I'm going to pick up her little, so you'll see that I have her, can you see her, on a leash and a harness. That's on purpose because I want to make sure that if anything happens, I am able to pick up her leash and remove her if she gets into too much trouble. All right, so here's my messy house, but here's my little, let's see, that's maybe better. This is her pen. This is just a stool that I was sitting on with her, so that's not part of the pen. It's got some toys in it. I've got her crate in there. I periodically toss in a couple fun things for her to find in the crate. And it's pretty simple. And then the flooring is just a matte flooring that I just put down to protect the brand new hardwoods that we'd like to sort of keep intact. But it's not too big, but there's enough room for her to hang around and then be comfortable in her crate, especially if my other dogs are in the room as well. Let's see. Do working dogs become breeders, or is it always better to neuter them to select breeding? So that's a good question. It depends on the organization. The one that I work for, we do neuter and spay all of our dogs. And we may, you can potentially breed them first or collect on them if you think they're going to be a good prospect, and then, or they'll be designated breeding stock. Yeah, limited freedom as a puppy. Yep, absolutely. I'm a big fan of making sure that I am doing really good management, because most of training is management at this age. And then so her schedule is, we're going to get up, after she's gone to the bathroom, we're going to play and do some training. She's going to get some free time, and then she's going to get managed again, either pen or crate, making sure that she's not getting into trouble. It prevents the problems that we see sometimes, chewing on furniture, chewing on, shoes. All of that is manageable problems that will go away on their own if you don't allow them to happen. Is that an impact crate, and why choose that crate? Yeah, so this is an impact crate. I am a crate fanatic. My husband would not love to hear this, but I have so many crates for dogs. Now, the impact crate is specifically, I got this one for Cool Whip. Sorry, guys, I'm just trying to manage my little puppy here. Come on, sweetheart. Come on in. So the crate is impact crate. The reason I use it is because I travel to hotels quite a bit for my job. So I'm a placement specialist at Fidelco during the day. So that means I go all over the country placing guide dogs, and I a lot of the time will either bring a dog, or I will bring Cool Whip with me. And I like to be able to carry the crate easily up into the hotel, and the impact crate, being quite the investment, however, works awesome for that, is super light. And this particular one, this this little one, good girl. I'm sorry, I'm like spinning you guys around. Obviously, I'm a noob at this, but it's very light, easy to transport, and it doesn't rattle in the van either, which is great. I hate rattly crates, but I'll also use the Rufflin kennels. I have several of those. Most of the guide dogs travel in those, and then I have a custom-built kennel that is also in the van that locks, because we do leave the van open sometimes, so I wanted to have a locking kennel. Let's see. So some incredible. Thank you for doing this live stream. You're welcome. I was a little worried about doing it, but I'm so glad to have you all here. This is fun. Are you in the U.S. or Canada? Since Fidelco is Fidelco is actually in Connecticut. So I am U.S. I live in Connecticut. Hi, Chris. Thanks for being on. Chris is one of my coworkers. What happens to the puppy if it washes? So it's most of the guide dog schools, if a puppy isn't the right fit for the program, they're going to first and foremost try and give it another job. So whether that's police or bomb sniffing, or if it's not suitable for those things, they're often offered back to their puppy raisers. And if they don't want it, then most schools keep a running list of people who would like a really nice guide dog or service dog of any type. So there's usually no lack of people that are interested in having one of these guys if they don't make it as a guide. I found the price would be hard. And yes, yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. The impact rates are an investment. But for me, it's the easiest option for being able to have it both in the car and going into hotel. And because when we're not in COVID, I'm living in hotels a lot, or, when I had the van, living out of the van, having the crate that collapsed easily was important. I'm in the UK, and I personally have not seen a shepherd guide dog over here in some years now. Not saying the UK no longer uses them, just that I have not seen one in some years. I want to say that I just saw an Instagram account that had a shepherd guide dog on it. I just scrolled through it, so I don't know it, but it's possible that they are still using them. But yes, they are not the primary dog that's used for guiding work. Mark McGrath, OSA, O-S-A. First one. Yeah. Spanish for she bear, female bear. All right. How does the training of a guide dog differ from other service dogs prior to the point of washing out or continuing? So that's really interesting. So I always, say that guide dogs are one of the hardest service dogs to train because they're responsible for so much all of the time. Not that other service dogs aren't, challenging to train at all. I've trained quite a few, and guide dogs require the most of the dogs, and they're under generally the most stress of service dogs. Obviously, that varies depending on what we're asking our dogs to do. Yeah, we're gonna have to wrap it up here soon, guys, because I'm definitely gonna have to take this girlfriend out. But hold on, sweetheart. I'm just gonna put her in the pen real quick and have her not run around so much. Here you go, girl. Okay, so it depends. The type of dog you get for service work really depends on the type of service work that you want to do. But generally, you can't go wrong with labs and the ones that people. Hey, sweetheart. I know the ones that people normally use. Your labs, your shepherds, your Goldens are your general service dogs. That question's a little too involved for right now. Let's see. There is a school nearby me that's non-guide dogs become autism. Yep. And therapy dogs. Yep. Absolutely. How will you socialize the puppy during the pandemic? So I'm going to do a video on that probably, because that is an important thing, is the socialization process. So stay tuned for that. Oh, this is actually my first guide dog puppy, Emily, that I've raised. I just was never in a good place to raise them. And also I always had work dogs home. So I always had shepherds home with me. And since the pandemic, I've had one home with me pretty much constantly. But we decided that this would be, what are you doing? Then it would be a good time to raise a dog. How did you find the name? What subscriber? Oh, that's a really good question. So one of my friends, Erica, who also has an Australian Coolie, had a dog named Osa that she recommended, but it wasn't the only one that had recommended it. Okay. Welcome to puppy raising. I'm raising my third for Guiding Eyes. That's awesome. Yeah, puppies is a total commitment. And as I mentioned, I have 2 very dog selective dogs. So I have to be really conscious. And one of my dogs has epilepsy, basically. So I have to be conscious of her feelings. And, I thought she was in a good place right now with her medication to be able to bring this puppy on board with her. So it's a lot that goes into deciding whether or not you're going to raise a dog. But what I didn't mention, which some of you might not know, is my dad is actually has retinitis pigmentosa, which is which is a slow blinding disease. So that's kind of how I got into guide dogs. And I think with that, guys, I'm going to have to wrap it up because this girl is whining and I'm pretty sure she needs to go out and go potty. And I want to keep my 0 accident streak. So thank you all for being here. I really appreciate it. I hope you had fun. Stay tuned for some more content. Oh my God, she's so cute. Some more content coming up. And yay for 0 accidents. Yes, right? All right, guys, we're heading out to the bathroom. Thank you guys so much for watching. And so make sure you subscribe and stay tuned. Bye.